breathe in. Breathe out slowly. Hi, thank you for joining me. I'm James Dayley from HypnosisRecordingArtist.com. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. Actually, it's in the middle of the afternoon for me to be doing this recording. Usually I do my recordings late at night, and the purpose for that is late at night there's less ambient noise outside. I don't have to worry about garbage trucks coming by or people mowing their lawns. And I live close to an Air Force base, so it also helps me to record later at night when the jets aren't flying overhead. For some reason, even though I use techniques to deaden the sound around me, it still leaks. The sounds of jets have a tendency to still leak through. So the product that I want to talk to you today about is a time-saving device that I use. It's called Sharm. I discovered Sharm many, many years ago when I first started making hypnosis recordings to give to my clients and also to sell on the internet. What I was doing was I was looking for royalty-free music to utilize as background music on my tracks when I came across the Sharm Company. Sharm Company has developed a series of products over the years, and they keep refining it and making it better. The current product that I absolutely love is Sharm-Studio. It's the most affordable product that they've had over the years. You buy it, download it, and you own it. They give you free updates, and they're constantly updating and constantly changing the program. Another program that Sharm uses, or that Sharm's developed, I should say, is Sharm Live, which is what I use for my live sessions with clients, as well as when I do a live performance. I've been able to load in tracks and use that for live performances. I'll make a demo on that a little bit later. If you want to see the fun little demo I did on Sharm Live, just click on the link below. Anyway, let's talk about Sharm-Studio. And I'm going to jump right over and show you the basic workspace. So go ahead and join me now and take a look at the workspace that we've got here. And I'm just going to go over the top of this. So Sharm, the first off is that you can just go to their website, and you simply get there by just clicking on the Sharm website. The actual address for the Sharm website is www.thesharm.com. And this is a basic overview of the Sharm-Studio. You can create audio therapy sessions. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds, creating effective, high-quality, studio-level therapy sessions quickly and easily produced, customized practice sessions for your clients to use at home. And that's what I do. Quite often for example, I'll have a smoke cessation client come in, and I'll want to give them a recording of their session just as a backup, but also I like to give them a follow-up recording, something to help reinforce the hypnosis that I've done with them. So I've pre-recorded that in Sharm, and that is what I give them, either a download link or I give them a burnt copy on a CD when they leave my office. But Sharm does a lot of wonderful things, and I'm going to just jump right into the face of it. So this is the Sharm-Studio. Just follow my mouse pointer. Right up here is new. This is where we're creating a brand new session. Actually, even before we do that, let's jump right over here to the options. The options are the basic setup. By clicking on option, it shows you what your recording device is. Right now, the recording device is set for my webcam. I don't really want to utilize the webcam as my recording device. What I prefer to use is my Blue Yeti microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to the Blue Yeti. And I'm also going to use the Blue Yeti output, the headphones in that, so that I can hear myself a little bit later. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and leave this on the playback so that you can hear what's going on. All right. You can set this at stereo. I'm going to go ahead and use my default playback device, which is going to be the computer speakers, and you should be able to hear what's happening on Sharm with that. We're going to make a quality CD. We can change this quality to really super DVD quality. CD quality I find is just fine for most computers and for most playback. We also have different options for our final export. I usually leave it at MP3 because that's how I usually deliver the products to my customers. However, when I'm recording something brand new for the first time that I'm going to release and have the option to download it or buy a CD of it, I'll leave it uncompressed as a WAV file, which is a far larger file. But the cool thing about it is that you can always convert it into an MP3 later. So it's always best to start at the highest quality and work back. Once again, where I know where the medium of this is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and leave the audio quality of what I'm going to be practicing on today as a WAV. You can also have a separate monitor where you can monitor video recording. That's kind of a new thing that they've just added. I haven't done a lot of experimentation with that. One handicap that I have found with that is if you do want to have kind of maybe a visual soundscape or something to play in the background, you have to have the recording the length or longer than the recording that you make, because once the video comes to an end, it'll stop Sharm right in the middle of your recording. So once again, I don't utilize the video aspects of Sharm that much as of yet. It is something that I will probably utilize more and more into the future. Alright, so once all of that is set, we're all set, we're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this screen, and now let's just talk about the various things that we do have on the Sharm Workspace. Starting off where we have new, and that's just creating a whole brand new item from scratch. We can open a previously recorded session. Quite often I will do this where I will have a preset session set up that I use for clients, or that I use as basically a template, but I want to show you how I utilize that, so I'm going to start from scratch today. Of course, you've got your save button, your save as, so that you can change the name of the file or the location where you want to save it. And now we've got our session. I'm going to go ahead and click on this to show you that we've got various things. If you look down here to the, where is it? Well, I'm going to hit on session length. Right now it's set for 0 hours, 20 minutes long, and 0 seconds. 20 minutes is usually the perfect length for doing sessions, although I don't want to run short, so quite often I will change this to 30 minutes. And you just simply by switching that, and now you'll see the length down here. It says it's 20 minutes long. As soon as I click OK, it changes it to 30 minutes. So now my workspace is still the same size, but I have a longer period of time that I can utilize. And it says it's 20 minutes long. As soon as I click OK, it changes it to 30 minutes. So now my workspace is still the same size, but I have a longer period of time that I can utilize. And you can always cut this down and edit it, shorten it later. Let's go back up here to session and see some of the other things. This is what I was talking about with the background video. You can put the background videos in or not. You can put notes on your particular recordings. The handy part of this is by putting the notes on it, it gives you an opportunity to create little session notes, and then transcript. In certain European countries, when you sell a hypnosis recording, and you may want to check where you're coming from to make sure that to see if you need to include this or not. But in certain countries, they want you to actually have a printed document of the suggestions that are given in the recording. This would be a perfect place to be able to utilize that, where you can actually just drop your script right in here and you have a copy of your scripts and your suggestions. It's a great little tool. You can just cut and paste and copy it right in there. Now let's talk about the tracks. Now each of these lines here is an actual track, and we've got multiple tracks. We've got a track that's already been dedicated for vocal. We've got a track that's dedicated for music, nature, tones, noises, breath work, and external audio. That would be audio that you're importing. Perhaps you've bought a royalty-free soundscape from somebody that you want to utilize as background music. You can bring that in. Or you can actually bring in sections of your own recordings and drop them into that session. In fact, how I've set mine up, and I'll get into this in more detail, is I've already pre-recorded my pre-talk. I pre-recorded several inductions. I pre-recorded several deepenings. I've recorded many different scripts. And I pre-recorded my outro and my termination. And what's really cool is I can leave those pieces in place and then just put in the script and change that as I go along. It's a great way to be able to utilize your time to the maximum. So under tracks, we can also add additional tracks. So let's say you want to have two different types of music playing in the same background. You can add tracks, remove tracks. You can remove all the empty tracks. You can change the names of tracks, and you can even change the colors on the tracks right here. Now the next section is the segments. The segments are the sections that are inserted in each of these tracks. And how you can insert that is, I'm going to show you some music. I'm just going to go here to the end, hold my mouse button down, drag it all the way to the end. You'll see the double arrows. That allows you to move the track around to, when you see the one, you can either shorten the length or extend it all the way out to the full 30 minutes. So each one of these, this would be a segment. Here's a segment for music. Now you may want to utilize various pieces of music. So for example, Sharm generates, as I mentioned, it generates its own music, which is royalty free for you to utilize in all of your hypnosis recordings for both sellable product as well as for working one-on-one with your clients. Now how they've come about to do this is they've created a program that actually generates music as it goes along. You can really get into the details on this. You can, right now this is our orchestra, and we have this whole selection that we can pick from different instruments, different sounds. Or we can just hit create and it'll randomly pick various sound tones. I find that if you add too many, it just becomes a menage of noise. It's best to limit it to 5, 6, 7 songs, even down to just 1 or 2. To give you an idea, this is what we've created just simply by playing that. I'm going to hit compose, and that'll start playing the track. I'm going to put my headphones on so that I can hear what's happening here. Now we'll hit this button to create a different track. And yet another one. Yeah, I kind of like this one. So we'll just go ahead and leave that one on as is. We'll stop it here. Now, let's say this is music that I want to use as my pre-talk, but I want to have something completely different in my general session. So let's create a whole new sound here. And I like that. Perfect. So then we've got, and I'm going to come back to voice in just a moment, we've got nature sounds. And again, by just simply dragging, we can now go in and add nature sounds. Now the Sharm-Studio comes with preset sounds that you can utilize. Of course, you can bring in your own nature sounds. The one catch to the license that Sharm has is that if you do add music or you do add sounds, you can't use the sounds and duplicate and resell just the audio of the sounds. You must record a vocal over it or add music to it. And right here in the studio library, we got nature sounds and we've got suggestions. I'll come back to those in just a moment. In nature sounds, we've got a whole selection: beach, birds, a brook, fountain, jungles, lake, ocean, rain, river, streams, urban sounds, waterfall, and weather. Let's go to the beach and see what sounds they've got at the beach. Now they've got a variety of different sounds. Just for the sake of this recording, I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of them and click open. And now they've all been populated right here. And we can set a random list of sounds so that it'll automatically go. We'll have them switch from one sound to the next in about 1 minute, and the transition will be about 5 seconds. Actually, I want to increase this to about 2 minutes each. Now let's hear what we've got. We can mix the sound by lowering the video. That's right. I mean, lowering the sound, not the video. We can solo just the music. So now all we're hearing is the music. And now we're soloing just the ocean. Now this is mooting. What these symbols represent is M stands for moot, just to moot out the noise. And S stands for solo, which gives you just that instrument as a solo. Now, we've also got tones. And with the tones, we've got various options here. I am going to just solo out the tones so that you can hear them. We can change the sound of the tones. Let's go even lower than that. There we go. Now let's hear it all together. And again, this can be turned up or turned way, way down, however you want the final mix to come out. The next is just white noise or pink noise. Here we've got brown noise, pink noise, and white noise. Give you an idea of what these noises, and sometimes when we're creating hypnosis recordings, we want kind of a wall of sound in the background, and it helps us out. So this will be just your noise, and we'll solo that. This is brown noise. Switched over to pink noise. A little higher tone. And of course we've got white noise. Now the usage of noise have a variety of different uses. One of which is really quite handy, is to just create a wall of noise that helps filter other ambient sounds. So say, for example, you want your client to listen to this, but they don't have headphones and they put their speakers on. The white noise actually just creates a wall of noise that prevents other ambient noise from interfering as much. It creates just a steady background that allows you to relax even more. I usually do put noise in, and I'll bring it really down low. It helps cover a lot of the stuff that is going on while we're recording. All right, moving right along here. Now we got breath work. This is really quite interesting. This is a tool that I utilize, and quite often I'll use this to help induce trance state. In the breath work, and I'll solo this, right off the top you'll hear a voice. Let's go ahead and play this.
Breathe in.
Now as you listen, you can hear the voice
Breathe
speaking.
out.
You can also hear a heartbeat.
In.
That noise that sounds like an ocean wave is actually, in fact,
Out.
breathing. Now,
Take in a deep and slow breath.
I usually just turn the volume completely off on the voice. I don't need anybody telling my clients how to breathe. That's my job when I'm doing the hypnosis recording. But sometimes that is a useful tool if you want to use something other than your own voice. The heartbeat right now is at 25 beats per minute. You can increase that, or you can even bring it down. I find usually 25 beats per minute is a good roundabout place. Actually, that's the percentage. It was at 72 beats per second. Now it's at 47. The percentage of the sound of the heartbeat, I will usually bring that right down and leave that right at about 25. This is everything together. That white noise is really loud. Let's bring the white noise down. And actually, I really prefer brown noise. You can hear the breath work. That's the ocean. And then finally, external audio. And this is where I import audio that I've already previously recorded. Now there's some really cool subtleties with all of this. And some of the subtleties that we can go through here is that we can go in and we can actually get into the mixing part of this where we can utilize some of these tones. So I'm going to go over here to music and show you how we can change the volume. Say, for example, let's go to this first section right here. I'm going to go over here to volume. Once I click on volume, I'm going to set the graph, and that opens up a little graph area down here at the bottom of the screen. This shows me that the sound is at 50%, and by putting a little click button right there, I can now drag this piece all the way down, and I've actually created a fade in. By hitting this button right here, smooth, it actually creates a curve to create this so that it gives us a gradual fade in and fade out. To give you an example, let's go ahead and solo the music and hear this fade in. As you can see, this is slowly moving up. There's also presets where we can have an auto fade, a fade in and a fade out, which is really quite handy. And we'll use this one. And let's go to a fade out. And I want to utilize that one. I'm going to go back to set value. And Sharm's already done the fade in and fade out for you. We can also add effects, and I'm going to get into that in more detail. Before I move on to actually setting up a recording, let's do this. I would like to show you how we record vocals. So I'm going to go ahead and just create, it doesn't really matter how long of a track, I'm just going to create a track here for vocals. Once again, we hit the record button, and this will bring up the session. This little indicator here shows you the quality of the voice recording. You don't want it to go into the red. So what I always suggest is work the microphone. Get closer, speak softer, and that way it gets a more fulfilling sound. As you get further back, you can speak up louder. It's best if you're going to take a deep breath to move away from the microphone when you do that. Kind of work the mic. We've got various settings here. One is so that you can listen to the actual music playing in the background. Another is so that you can utilize and listen to your own voice. I have that muted right now because we don't need that echo effect that's going on. Now right down in this section here, we can actually cut and paste a script. So let me go off camera here for just a second and bring up a script. Actually, it really doesn't matter what the script is. It could just be anything. I got an idea. Let's do this. I'm just going to grab some text from the Sharm website. Just to kind of give you an idea as to what we're doing here. I will just cut this little piece right here. I'm just doing a cut and paste. I'm going to go back up here to the record session, and I'm just going to paste that right in. And now it's just taken a section of a document that I've cut and pasted, recorded. Let's make that font a little bit bigger as we get older. My eyes aren't quite as good, and it's easier for me to see that. Now, quite often I don't use scripts when I'm with clients. However, when I'm creating a hypnosis recording that I'm going to be selling on the internet, I might utilize the formatting of a script. There's two ways to do this. One of my favorites is that you can do auto scrolling, which is like a teleprompter, or you can scroll it all by yourself. In this particular case, it's not going to need to be scrolled, but I'm going to do it just for the sake. And I'm going to set this on a moderate or on slow so that you can see what's happening. So once you've set, you've got your recording levels, your headphones are on, and you're all ready to go. Just go ahead and click the record button. This is going to give you a countdown. It'll go 3, 2, 1. As soon as the countdown disappears, you can start your recording like this. I'm also going to make a deliberate mistake here so that I can show you how to quickly go in and edit that mistake. Make a mistake. Here we go. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality, studio-level audio soundtracks quickly and simply. Oops. Precisely controlled different audio and music aspects with a simple-to-use graph panel. You can compose beautiful background ambient music without any prior music knowledge. And right there it comes to an ending. Now it automatically brings up this function where we can actually play the file, we can play it back, we can look at where the file is going to be recorded and kept, and I'm keeping this right now under documents, but I'm going to move this. I'm going to leave it right where it is for now. Don't need to move it. You can edit the recording, and that's what we want to do. So let's just jump right into that. And now, As you remember, at one point I made a mistake and I also let it carry on at the end. So let's get rid of this extra tailing space right here. Just simply by highlighting it, dragging the mouse, we can get real specific and bring it right to where you want it to cut out, and then either hit the delete button on your computer or cut. It's completely out. Now, right here in the front, we don't need that extra stuff, so let's go ahead and cut that out. And let's hear what we got. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality, studio-level audio soundtracks quickly and simply. Oops. Now, I made a mistake right there. Now, you notice that I've got these three spikes, these three high spikes coming up. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you right here. Oops. Now, the reason I made that cluck, cluck, cluck noise is it's actually put up three little spikes right here that shows me that's where my mistake was. So I want to delete this. So let's get right into it so that I don't cut out anything that I want to keep. I know that, and just simply by cutting that out, I've deleted a mistake. So let's see what we've just done. Quickly and simply, precisely controlled different audio and music aspects with the. All right, so that did the job for me. Now, once I can hit save to save this, and all that it's recorded, even though we were listening to the music, all of this recorded was our vocal track. I can now go in and edit this, create this, get this to be exactly what I want. For example, if I wanted to utilize this as a pre-talk, I would save this and come back and use this again at a later time. I'm going to just click the X button here, and Sharm gives you backup so that you don't make mistakes before you delete something that you really want. It says, do you want to save that sound file? I'm going to say yes. And now it's created it and saved it in this location. You can move that to anywhere you want. Now it's giving me various options. I can edit it, which we've just done. We can add it to the file of the selected segment, which is right here. I can add it to a whole new track, which will put it on a whole different track. I can add the recording to a new external audio track, which is down here. I can open the folder to look at it. I can delete it completely if I knew that I totally messed it up and didn't want to utilize it. And then finally, I'll handle the sound file a little bit later. I'm going to utilize it right now. Let's add it to a new track just so you can see what's happened here. And it's added this track at the top. This track here was my previous one. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that track because I don't need it. And now we're back to normal. Let's hear everything put together. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality. Okay, my vocals are a little bit loud, so instead of 100%, let's bring this down to about 80%. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you. That's better. And now let's talk about some of the really cool effects that we can utilize with Sharm. We've got enhanced, reverb, echo, and chorus. Enhanced actually adds fullness to the body. Here, let me play the recording, and I'm going to put it on solo so you can hear just the recording, and I'm going to play with that sound. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality, studio-level audio soundtracks quickly and simply. Precisely controlled different audio and music aspects. That's with the enhanced effect. This is without. Sharm-Studio is a software tool, and again, with it. Sharm-Studio is a software tool. Excuse me. Okay. So we can change that. Now another effect is reverb. You don't want to get carried away with reverb. This will give a fuller sound as if you're in a larger room. Let's hear how that sounds as I add the reverb. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality, studio-level audio soundtracks quickly and simply, precisely controlled different audio and music aspects with a simple-to-use graph panel. Okay, as you've noticed, as I add more reverb, it sounds more hollow and more dreamy sounding. This is an effect that I have discovered and I utilize with the Sharm program that's really wonderful. As I do my induction, I'll start with very, very light echo or reverb effects. And as the induction proceeds, I'll add the effect. So by the time I get them into the hypnotic state and I'm giving them the suggestions, I may add even more to add to the overall effect of the dreaminess of the sound of the recording. I discovered myself on the first recording that I did that when I got to my outro, when I was doing the trance termination and counting 1 up through 5 to bring them up and out of trance, I slowly dropped the echo from full effect to 0 while I counted them up and out. The effect that I got was that when I listened to the recording, it brought me from a dreamy state right back into the room and in the presence and out of hypnosis. It's really quite effective, and I utilize that on almost all of my recordings. Now, echo can get pretty outrageous. I'm going to bring the reverb down to about an 8 here. And the echo, I'm only going to add 4 just for the demonstration purposes right now. You'll see what I mean. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality, studio-level audio soundtracks quickly and simply, precisely controlled different audio. So you can really add it. That's almost too much. I usually leave it at 2. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sound. And once again, as I said, I'll use a little more of that as I take them into trance, but when I get them to trance termination, I will reduce that completely. Now we've also got some other effects, Brainwave and bilateral beats. I'll get into that in a minute. Before I do that, let's talk about chorus. And I'm just going to zero this out so that we're there. The chorus will add another voice. I usually like to put this at about 3. This is without chorus. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality, studio-level audio soundtracks quickly and simply, precisely controlled different audio and music aspects with a simple-to-use graph panel. You can compose beautiful background. So what I've done here is I've added 7 voices. What it's done is taken a couple of voices, my natural voice. It's created a copy of that slightly lower tone and a copy slightly higher tone. Actually, it's created 7 voices at various tones so that when you hear my full voice, it's actually a combination of my voice mixed together in a chorus. Once again, this is with it. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. And this is without. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about on mixing this down. So on the effects, let's go here to reverb. And I'm going to use the graph to kind of set this up. So in the reverb, I want to, well, let's do this. I'm going to just set the reverb at 8. And the echo at a 5. And the chorus, I'm going to leave that at 7. It sounds good at 7. We can utilize that. But I want to change the echo. I want the echo to drop at the very end. So I'm going to set this at a graph. It's set this and I'm going to go from that to a 0 very, very quickly. There we go. Let's just go hog wild here so you can see the effect that I'm talking about. So the effect is going to start slow. It's going to get bigger, bigger, bigger. And then in the last couple of seconds, it's just going to disappear. All right, so let's hear how that sounds. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality, studio-level audio soundtracks quickly and simply. Precisely controlled different audio and music aspects with a simple-to-use graph panel. You can compose beautiful background ambient music without any prior music knowledge. So that's an easy way that you can utilize the sound. Now I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to come over here and click copy. What I've done is I've just copied this graphic right here. Now we can go to chorus, for example, and I'm just going to hit paste. And it's just created the same ambient quality on that. We can do the same thing here. And now, to listen to the whole thing together, Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high-quality, studio-level audio soundtracks quickly and simply. Precisely controlled different audio and music aspects with a simple-to-use graph panel. You can compose beautiful background ambient music without any prior music knowledge. And that's the basic studio. So let's go back up and continue going through here. So we've clicked on recording. Now these are also shortcuts. Once I've highlighted the voice track, I can now click edit, and it'll actually take me into that track that I can go in and edit that if I need to. View allows me to zoom in, zoom out. We can even hide the little graph down here at the bottom, or bring it back in. This way it'll give you bigger working space. And again, we've gone over the options here. And finally, we've got export. So we're done. We've gone through, we've edited, we've added all of our tracks, we've created the whole product. We've added our Brainwave enhancement, and let's talk about that right now. Let's go to the tone. I like to do this with the tone. Once again, let's listen to the tone. It's really kind of a low tone. Let's take this up to 80 so that you can hear it. This is kind of like stereoing, putting different tones. I like to have at least 2. Now let's talk about some of the effects, and the reason why I like to utilize the tone is this will give you an opportunity to understand a little bit more about the brainwave enhancement and the bilateral beats. So let's look at brainwave. We can set this up two ways. We can either put it in entrainment mode for the whole session, or just for the segment that we're on. This would be with the whole session. Sharm-Studio is a software tool that lets you record, edit, and mix sounds. You'll be able to create effective, high quality. Now you may not really be able to hear that, but let's do this and just go to the segment, which is the tone. Give you a chance of listening to it. If you have headphones on, you may hear a little a wobble. What that is that one tone is being played in one ear and a slightly different tone is being played in the other ear. Your brain tries to balance that out, and that is what creates this wobbling noise, this wobble wobble. Now what's interesting is when we are conscious and we're communicating like we are right now, where we're totally awake and we're in the beta state of mind where I'm sharing information with you and you are receiving information from me, our brain waves are running between 21 to 41,000 hertz per minute. As we slow our bodies down and we relax a little bit more and we fall into the hypnoidal state or the alpha state, that last state of mind right before we fall asleep at night or right before we wake up in the morning, that's the alpha state. The brain waves are more along the lines of 9 to about 12,000 hertz per second, 1,200 hertz per minute. By listening to these tones at a slower rate, it takes our minds 7 minutes to get in tune with that. So quite often, I will go ahead and start my binaural beats, sending people into the alpha state or even deeper from the very beginning of the recording. So by the time I finish my induction, just by listening to the bilateral tones will actually cause their brains to get into harmony and move into the alpha or into the theta state, which are the two workable states of hypnosis. We can also set bilateral, basically the same type of settings. And I'm going to do this instead of on the session, just on this tone. We can actually go in and create various levels of this, and I'm going to do a much more advanced course on just brainwave and bilateral enhancements. So keep in touch, and that should be coming up soon. Now you can hear the tone going back and forth. And I'm going into state. All right, so now once you've got everything set and you're ready to record, you've added all your vocal tracks and you're ready to go, we go up here and we just click the export button. This is now giving me an opportunity to export it as an MP3. Now if you do want to change this, you want to cancel out of this. It's actually, once I hit export, it's actually creating this. So I'm going to go ahead and let it do this. It looks like it's going to take about 1 minute and 43 seconds. Let's go ahead and cancel that now. Yes. In fact, we want to have everything playing here. Okay, so once we've got that ready to go, we can go ahead and do our export. This is automatically doing the export. It says, and I'm going to cancel that again. Let's go up here to options and change this to, instead of MP3, a wave. Click close, and now when I hit export, As you can see, it's going to compress this as an uncompressed wave, and this will take probably about 11 minutes for it to go through this. In MP3, as you can see, takes about a minute and a half. So once this is done, you're all set. So I hope that that helps you, walks you through the basic system with the workspace of Sharm. Now, if you need help, feel free to contact me. I'd be more than happy to help you out, even though I'm not officially a tech support person with Sharm. But of course, the option here would be to just go up here and click on support. And there's a whole series of tutorials that you can go online and look at. The tutorials, again, most of these are PDF files that you can download. And I will be going through each. In fact, I've gone through most of these already with you. You've also got the opportunity to create shortcut keys, go to the website, and if you're having problems, definitely click the Contact Us. When you log into Sharm, it'll automatically check for updates, and it shows that my software is completely up to date. Under your help, there's all types of different additional information that you can utilize to go through each of the effects. And as I said, I'm going to go through all of this on a detailed basis so that you really understand how Sharm works. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pause the tape. I'm going to start with a brand new palette here. I'm going to go through the whole process, and I'm going to show you my workflow when I'm creating product. As I said, I usually record a pre-talk, an induction, a deepening, script, termination, and your final outro. Thank you for joining me. Looking forward to the next class.
Breathe in. Breathe out slowly.